Guys, great news here. A head coach with nearly 100 wins in his resume and who just built one of the best pass defenses in football, suddenly available right when we need someone who knows how to stop opposing quarterbacks. The timing here is almost too perfect. And honestly, if Jerry doesn't at least make a phone call, I don't even know what we're doing anymore. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the America's team. So yeah, Sean McDermott got fired by the Bills on Monday, and I mean, the entire NFL world was shocked. This dude went 98-50 in Buffalo, which is the second most wins in franchise history behind the legendary Marv Levy. 8 winning seasons out of 9 years. But you know what? Not making it to the Super Bowl was apparently enough for Buffalo to move on, and look, I get it from their perspective. But from our perspective, this could be huge. Now, here's the thing about McDermott. This isn't just some guy who had a decent run. He rose to prominence working under Jim Johnson with the Eagles, one of the legendary defensive minds in NFL history. He replaced Johnson in 2009, then went to Carolina as their defensive coordinator in 2011. And honestly, what he did in Carolina is exactly what we need right now. He masterminded a defense that went 15-1 in 2015 and made it all the way to the Super Bowl. That's the kind of defensive genius we're looking for. And in Buffalo, even this past season with injuries all over the place, McDermott had the top pass defense in 2025. Meanwhile, we're sitting here ranked 30th in total defense, giving up 377 yards per game and allowing 60 touchdowns, which is literally the most in the league. Like, the contrast couldn't be more obvious. So the question becomes, would McDermott even want to be a defensive coordinator? Because there are still head coaching positions available out there. But you know what? A lot of the top positions have already been filled. So maybe, just maybe, McDermott decides to spend 2026 as a defensive coordinator, rebuild his reputation as a defensive mastermind, and then have his choice of head coaching jobs in 2027. I mean, that's actually a smart move if you think about it. And if that's his plan, why wouldn't Dallas at least kick the tires on this? Brian Schottenheimer has been zeroing in on up-and-coming coaches, which I appreciate, but McDermott could make everyone happy here. He'd give Schottenheimer someone who's proven he can slow down the opposing team's aerial attack, and he'd give Jerry Jones an experienced coach, which is what Jerry craves. We all know how Jerry operates. He loves big names, proven commodities. This checks all those boxes. Now, I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen. Obviously, if McDermott lands a head coaching gig somewhere, this whole conversation is moot. But given his success with the Bills, you'd think he's going to land somewhere as a head coach eventually. The question is just timing. But while we're talking about defensive coordinator candidates, we've got another situation developing that honestly has me a little worried. Daronte Jones had his in-person interview with us this weekend. The Vikings defensive pass game coordinator came to the Star, and from what I'm hearing, he was impressive, like really impressive. People have been calling him a defensive mastermind, and now he could be one of the favorites for our job. We're still doing more interviews. Jonathan Gannon is meeting with us Monday night. We're planning to meet with Christian Parker from the Eagles and eventually Jim Leonhard from the Broncos. So yeah, we're casting a wide net, taking our time, doing this the right way. But here's the problem with taking our time. We now have competition from an NFC East rival for Jones. The New York Giants just requested to interview Jones for their defensive coordinator position. And it's not just any regime over there. They landed John Harbaugh, the former Ravens head coach. Wait, actually, let me correct that. John Harbaugh is the Super Bowl winning coach who's now with the Giants, and he's got Jones in his sights for a key role. And you know what? Harbaugh knows how to find great defensive coordinators. In Baltimore, he had Chuck Pagano, Dean Pease, Don Wink Martindale, and Mike McDonald as his coordinators. Pagano went on to become a head coach with the Colts, going 53-43 in 6 years. McDonald is currently in his second season with the Seahawks, sitting at 24-20-10 in the regular season and set to play in the NFC Championship game. So when Harbaugh wants a defensive coordinator, he usually gets a good one. The fact that Harbaugh is interested in Jones is just another sign that this guy should be landing a defensive coordinator job soon. There's suddenly a much greater chance he could get that opportunity in the NFC East, and honestly, that would be frustrating to lose him to a division rival. Speaking of losing opportunities, Jeff Ulbrich is officially off the board. We requested to speak with him, but Atlanta denied us during their search for a new head coach. And now, new head coach Kevin Stefanski is keeping Ulbrich in his current role as defensive coordinator. Arthur Blank, the Falcons owner, came out and said Ulbrich did a really fine job this year, pointing to their sack numbers and overall defensive performance being better than in the past. So that door is closed. Now, let me shift gears here, because while defense is obviously the priority, there's an offense offensive scenario that could develop in the draft that's honestly pretty intriguing. We've got 2 first-round picks this year, and most people are projecting we use both on defense. I mean, when you're ranked 30th in total defense, that makes sense, right? But here's the thing. What if a special offensive talent is sitting there when we're on the clock at pick 20? What if we have a CeeDee Lamb-type situation all over again? Because if you remember, we planned to select a defender in 2020 before selecting Lamb at number 17 overall, and we all know how well that worked out. I am talking about Jeremiyah Love, the Notre Dame running back. This kid is special, guys. He was a Heisman finalist and Doak Walker Award winner. He averaged 6.9 yards per carry in both of the last 2 seasons. He had 42 touchdowns in that span. This past season, he rushed for 1,372 yards and 18 touchdowns, while adding 27 catches for 280 yards and 3 scores. Now look, running back isn't an immediate need for us, but if we can't re-sign Javonte Williams in the offseason, and if Love is sitting there at 20, wouldn't that be worth considering? Stephen Jones made it pretty clear we need a lot of help on defense, so yeah, we're likely using both first-rounders on that side of the ball. But the Cowboys have shown they're willing to pivot when a special talent falls to them, and honestly, the more weapons Dak Prescott has around him, the better. Which brings me to something I need to talk about, this bold prediction from Ben Solak at ESPN. So after we hired Brian Schottenheimer as head coach, people said we were playing it too safe. We didn't go for a big-name hire, we went with someone familiar. But then we started taking risks. We traded for George Pickens, we sent Micah Parsons to the Packers before the season started, and ahead of the trade deadline, we added Quinnen Williams in a blockbuster move. That didn't lead to success this past year, but it's promising to see us swing for the fences. And Ben Solak thinks we're going to continue that approach. His bold prediction? Dallas will sign Pickens to a long-term extension, making him the 4th highest paid receiver in the NFL, just under CeeDee Lamb at $34 million per year, but ahead of Pittsburgh's DK Metcalf at $33 million. And with Pickens back, Solak predicts Dak Prescott wins MVP in 2026. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Dak winning MVP sounds crazy, but honestly, it's not as crazy as it once sounded. The narrative around Dak has completely shifted. He used to be seen as a bus driver who benefited from an excellent ground game, but that's changed in recent years. Dak was the runner-up for MVP in 2023 when he put together a sensational campaign. He missed a major part of the following season, but returned even better in 2025. The dude was the leader of one of the league's most elite offenses. We were good enough to win 7 games, including 1 against each of the Super Bowl teams from the previous season, despite having a historically bad defense. Think about that for a second. Our defense was that terrible, and Dak still kept us competitive in games. So if we actually improve that defense and give Dak a second season with Lamb and Pickens together, yeah, he might very well lead us to enough wins to take home the MVP. That's not some wild fantasy. That's actually possible. The pieces are there, you know? We just need to fix the defense. Whether that's with Sean McDermott, Daronte Jones, or whoever we ultimately hire, we need someone who can turn this unit around, because the offense is ready. Dak's ready. We've got the weapons. We just need to stop giving up 60 touchdowns in a season.